My name is Wyatt Wheeler. I just recently graduated from John Burroughs High School in the year of 2020.
Hi, my name is Alina Padilla, and I graduated in 2020 from John Burroughs High School.
My name is Adelina Hernandez. I go to John Burroughs High School, and I'm going to graduate in 2022.
I'm Caden Brigstock, 2020 graduate of John Burroughs High School.
I'm Ethan Harisi. I graduated from Burroughs in 2018, and I currently go to UC Irvine.
My name is Ari Desai, and I graduated from Burroughs in 2020.
The first time I read a novel written by a woman in school was in 10th grade, and it was To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee.
10th grade, To Kill a Mockingbird.
The first novel I read written by a woman was Beloved by Toni Morrison in 12th grade.
It would probably be 4th grade Harry Potter, which is the most common one, Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling.
The first time I read a novel written by a woman in school was in 6th grade. We read The Egypt Game by Zilpha Keatley Snyder. No, they never talked about how it was written by a woman or what that might have had, what kind of an effect that might have had on the book.
I've yet to read a book by a woman in any class that I've taken in high school or college.
The first time I read a novel written by a person of color was also Beloved by Toni Morrison in 12th grade.
That happened at the end of my first year at UCI, so spring of 2019. It was just that one. Throughout high school, I can't remember a novel by a person of color or a woman that we read in class.
I haven't read a novel by a person of color since 7th grade, which was Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, which was in the curriculum.
The first time I read a novel by a person of color in school was Roll of Thunder, and that was in my 7th grade class, and that was also, it was never discussed that was written by a person of color.
It was in 12th grade, and it was Beloved by Toni Morrison.
12th grade, and it was Beloved. I think the only novel by a person of color that I read was Beloved, unless there was something in elementary school that I'm forgetting, but...
I would have liked to have read The Bluest Eyes by Toni Morrison, who is a woman and a person of color.
The two top ones would be Just Mercy or The House on Mango Street.
It's called Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. I would have loved to read that in high school. Books like The Invisible Man as well is something that comes to mind that I would have loved to read in high school.
I would have loved to have read novels by Maya Angelou. For example, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I would love to have read The Color Purple by Alice Walker, or If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin.
Having more diversity in the literature that we have read would increase everyone's perspectives. I think that only learning about white authors, or predominantly learning about white authors and male authors, makes it seem like that's the default person or that's the default author, and that's a really bad mindset to have and a really bad thing to teach kids.
More exposure to alternative perspectives in our classrooms would greatly benefit students because it would give students who've not been exposed to more than one culture their whole life some idea of what it feels like to be oppressed.
It has the potential to teach students a lot about the different ways that Black people, people of color, and women are, oppressed in this country. And that's something that's not really gone over in any, one class. They maybe graze over the civil rights movement, and I'm okay, but it's not enough. It doesn't highlight everything that Black people, people of color, and women go through in this country. And it's incredibly important that students know that history and know what's going on even now so that we can try and change it.
Especially within the recent events, I think I have sort of come to realize how much the things that I thought were in America's past are still present now, and I think that wouldn't have been something that would have had to hit me all at once if we had studied it more in school.
I think I would have been more accepting and more open-minded of people who aren't white and people who don't look like me had I read more things from people of color and have been able to been exposed to more perspectives.
And I think I would have, been better at calling out different situations that I experienced throughout high school. There weren't many Black people at Burroughs, and there are a lot of situations that, I'm thinking back to that I could have, spoken up and said something because they were wrong, but I wasn't properly equipped. I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't know that there is a history behind certain things that are said and certain actions that were done against the Black people, me and Black people that attended the school.
It would have allowed me to to know exactly what was going on, and it would make me more angry, which is a good thing, because it would mean that myself and a lot of other students would be more willing to fight for change.
I think if I had read more books by people of color, I wouldn't have been so quick to hide my heritage. Of course, I'm always, proud of, where I came from, what my family's struggles have been. But, whenever people ask me, I'm always like, oh, I'm Italian, oh, I'm Czechoslovakian. When, really, disproportionately, I'm Mexican and I'm Native American. And, honestly, I've never really spoken about that. I've just spoken about my white heritage versus everything else.
As a female who belongs to a minority group, seeing or reading books by authors who are female or are from minorities is inspiring to me, because it tells me that I would be able to have the same success probably that they would be able to, or that if I want to become an author, if I want to go into literature, then I have the ability to do that and have my voice heard in schools.
I just hope that everything that has happened in the past few months, even the past month, it's been very immediate, isn't immediately forgotten.
I think it's extremely important that we diversify everything in education, and I think that if we don't, it's going to be really detrimental to society.
By starting that discussion in the education system, it will lead to students growing up to be able to help make actual change in society.
It's an incredible time. It's insane that it's 2020, and we've been fighting this fight for decades. But let's just try our best to be the group that actually inspires change, and let's do that by educating each other and holding each other accountable. Just continuing to stay on the right side of this fight and do the best we can.